I do believe I am being taped. I'm being watched. Anyway, this is about how to keep an old bird alive. 50-year-old airplane that's seen a lot of use. In fact, let me come over here so you can, let's count the battle scars. There is a big chip taken out of the wing right in here. I just super glued it back in place. I had to splice, and I'll talk about splicing, in here. The wing tip on this side, you may or may not be able to see that. That was actually crushed with a stupid accident. I had to splice something right there. I had to splice a new piece of balsa into the tip right there when it whacked into a fence post. This was just stupid on my part. I wound up taking this and redoing the airplane and had to splice another part here and left a notch out in the vertical stabilizer so I can bend it without having it like stuck into the little fuselage slot right there. Also Frankensteined the back of the fuselage right here, and I had to add more incidents, positive incidents, into the horizontal stabilizer. So you can see with a razor blade I sliced out a slight triangle, then put it in backwards to give it a little down thrust. And so that is that. This is a good reason to hang on to the other pieces of balsa, because when you pop these out of the kits, you wind up having the other pieces, and I save those because I use them for splicing. Now if you look underneath the wings, you can see that I have these little brace-like things there to maintain a proper airfoil, because the key, the secret, because the more you use these things, the more flexible the balsa gets. It bends, you know, you're trimming it, which means you're adjusting it so it flies right. It winds up getting too flexible. So what I did is, you can see the airfoil shape in this. This is my airfoil form that I ripped out of a piece of cedar. Multiple passes, different angles of the blade, adjusting the fence, and then sanding it so I have nice airfoil there. What I do, and you can see the outline, hopefully the sleek streak wings, this is where they go, boom, and then I rubber band them, 6 rubber bands on each wing. After I soak it and let it dry in the sunshine, or put it in the oven at 175, very carefully drying it out, I wound up going a step further on this plane because it's been used and abused so much. I can put it on this form, and then after a while when I look at it, they're not symmetrical. Some of the bend goes out of one wing, and it's all a matter of trimming to make sure it's consistent and stiff. I'm gonna pop back around here, and I took, this is actually laminated, 2 sheets of 1/32, the grain running this way for added stiffness, soaked it again, and then rubber banded it down there, and turned it into a nice airfoil that matches the airfoil in the airplane that I put in. And then I just carefully take, I'm going to move back here again, do not be frightened, do not be frightened, a razor blade, and carefully cut strips out. So then I had these little strip airfoil things, trim them and glue them on there, and so this will stay consistent. It's 100%. You don't want to fly it and then it spirals into the ground, turns the wrong way, then you know, I'm not going to do it. Time honored, breathe on it to kind of steam it up and then bend it and hold it. You know, you want to have consistent every time. Now, I don't know how this is going to work, because I'm going to have to hold the camera and launch the airplane at the same time, and you can see it's breezy as heck out here. And this thing has been stuck in the trees, hit things way too many times. I'm going to try to be gentle with it. So what I did was I moved the wing back a little bit. I like to have these trimmed just to the stall point, so when the high torque of the freshly wound motor hits it off, it'll climb, get high, and then kind of settle in. What I did is I moved the wing back a little bit just to retard the gathering of height, the altitude, because it's not a good day for flying. Now I've got this rubber band. This is my stooge. Take my word for it. I just screwed a little hook in here, like a little hook you can get at the hardware store. And I can, with this size rubber band, get 650 winds in it, 650 turns, but I'm going to do it probably about 200. Oh, the hook, the rubber band hook, I took a little bit of the hookiness. It's almost straight out, so I can then slide it underneath there. Sometimes it slips off, but what have you. I'm not counting, but I'm going to get about 200 winds. 1/3, less than 1/3 of the possible. It's not going to have as much torque, so it's not going to take to the air, but we've got some gusts. I don't want it to go high today. This little bird has suffered enough. Stretch it out here, and this is how you pack the winds in. That's an aeronautical term. Packing the winds in. Now most of my planes, the North Pacific, I actually, because this is a very small space here, I have them adjusted for a left-hand turn. And so when the rubber band is putting out the maximum amount of torque, I'm getting the effect from the propeller too to tighten the turn so it doesn't widen out. This one, as I say, if it doesn't fly right side up, it'll fly upside down. This does not want to fly to the left, so I'm doing it naturally, a right-hand turn. It's an odd airplane. It also glides nicely in a left-hand turn. It's all a matter of trimming. This is what makes these scientific devices, not toys, but scientific devices. I have no idea how I'm going to launch this thing and then show it so you can see it doing circles in this breezy weather. Every time I glue something to it, every time I repair it, it adds a little weight too, so I'm fighting that. And this is a well-used rubber band, so it's not going to max out, but we'll still have a nice turny flight, and hopefully it'll land wheels down. It's all an experiment. I'll still release this video upon the world if it crashes or lands in a tree. Okay, that's good enough. That's a couple hundred turns. It's not 650 with a fresh rubber band. I slid my hook in there. Now I'm going to carefully slide it down. Now pardon me while I disconnect that camera and try to figure out how to launch this thing. I don't know. Do not be afraid. Hand's going to go in front of the camera. I'm going to set it down. This might work. There's a certain rhythm to the wind too. That's a DeVos helicopter you hear. Okay, here we go. Uh-oh. There, and it settled nicely into the Norway spruce. Well, that is a recoverable height. Hopefully I'm in the thing. You can see how flying a small rubber band airplane in the wind isn't so hot. But hopefully I gave you some clues on how to keep a 50-year-old rubber band airplane alive. It is now time to climb a tree. Have a good one, everyone.